Hey guys, we're back here at Mackinac Island this year. This is our second time to come here. We actually weren't going to film it, but we thought, Mackinac Island, not filming it, that didn't make sense. So we're going to call this Mackinac Island 2.0. Kind of bring you along. It's more in season than it was last time. We'll put the last year's video down in the description if you want to watch that. But yeah, let's go have some fun.
Hey y'all, I'm Stacy.
I'm Tom, and we're RV America, y'all.
As full-time RVers since 2018, we've traveled a lot and met a ton of awesome folks. But we're not done winging it yet, y'all. Join us as we check off our bucket list, experience destinations we've always dreamed of, and discover amazing places you may have never heard of.
Every day is a new adventure, and we're bringing you along for the fun. The next episode of our story begins now.
So last May when we came to Mackinac Island, we had plans. We were having lunch at the Grand Hotel. We were taking a carriage ride. We knew we were doing certain things when we came here. This time, we have no idea what we're doing. We got up this morning, it looked like it was going to be a beautiful day, and it is. And so we said, let's go to Mackinac Island. We're going to wing it. We have no idea what the day's going to turn out like. Oh, but a neat perk, when you bring the ferry over, if you're staying at one of the lodges or hotels, they take your luggage and everything for you to your hotel, so you don't have to worry about it once you get it on the ferry. And if you're carrying a bicycle over, they unload it from the ferry for you and it's waiting on the dock when you get here. So that's pretty good. And they still don't allow e-bikes from what we understand.
It's a little busier.
Yeah. A lot busier than May. flatbreads, salads, pastas, burgers, sandwich, his chicken sandwich,
Okay, let's go.
a little bit of everything.
Let's go in.
You want to sit inside or outside?
It's your call.
Outside, that's great.
We'll do outside.
Go ahead, enjoy
I
a
don't have
meal.
to take my glasses off. This is Great Turtle Brewing and Distillery.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So Tom got the brisket sandwich and I got the chicken, the legendary chicken sandwich. We'll see if it lives up to its name. So here they offer cocktail flights and beer flights. They even have the tortoise, which is a beer flight of 12 where you can try everything, but yeah, no. This is the Pedal Fast, the Hoban Street, Mackinac Summer, and Peelin' Happy, which she says is their most, that's like their flagship. And she's bringing us a menu so we can tell you what Tom has, because I don't know what any of those are. Tom's signature cocktail flight here, we've got Off the Dock, Shell Time, Lost on Mackinac, Somewhere in Time, and it's vodka, rum, whiskey, gin. Woo!
Okay, Great Turtle Brewery and Distillery. And let me tell you, first of all, the food was outstanding. Katie, our server, she was really good. The service was great. And okay, I know what you're thinking. If you have to take away my man card, take away my man card. But the way it's always been with Stacy and I is she's the beer snob. Oh, okay. We like to keep it positive on the channel, so she's the beer connoisseur of the two. And I've always been the mixed drink kind of guy. But maybe you'll give me my man card back, because my favorite of the four was the whiskey one. And the one with whiskey was the Mackinac on something or other, but it was the whiskey drink, and it was outstanding. So maybe I get my man card back, I hope. But no, this place, strongly recommend it. But we came early for lunch, and I'd recommend that, because the place really filled up soon after we got here. So I'm glad we got here. It's now 12:07. We got here probably at about 11:15. So yeah, it was great.
So the Stuart House Museum, this is a free, runs on donation museum, walks you through the history of Mackinac Island from the time when it was big in the fur trade with John Jacob Astor, and Stuart actually worked for Astor, to its time as a fishing mecca, to tourism today. Very interesting and yeah, worth the stop. It's really fun seeing all the bikes around here. Makes me wish we'd brought some, but you can rent them when you're here. But we're enjoying just walking around, but really tells a story when you come up on this many bicycles in one place. That's not something common for the U.S. So we're going to visit Fort Mackinac here on Mackinac Island. We didn't do this on our last trip. We paid $16.25, and that gets us into basically all of the museums here on Mackinac Island. You can do a combo for about 30 bucks. It also gets you into Fort Mishimiliac. I hope I'm saying that correctly, in Mackinac City on the mainland. But yeah, we're gonna have a day full of museums now.
Yeah,
That's
but what
pretty
about
cool.
this workout that we're gonna get?
This is straight up.
Yeah, it seems like it anyway.
But we're gonna have a beautiful view when we get up there.
Yeah.
We're still got a little ways to go to get to the top of the fort, but take a look at this view. All right, guys, I got a lot of dates in my head, so forgive me if I use my cheat notes here. But Fort Mackinac was actually a British fort. It was on the mainland at Mackinac City until 1780, when the British relocated it here to Mackinac Island and built the fort on the bluff so it would be easier to defend. It remained under British control until 1796. That's a full 20 years after America gained its independence from Great Britain. But then the U.S. took over. It became a U.S. fort, and it served as a U.S. fort until 1895. In 1875, while the federal troops were still here operating the fort, it became a national park, and it remained a national park until 1895, when the military left and the federal government turned it over to the state of Michigan. So, interesting history. And by the way, when the state of Michigan took over, this became the first Michigan State Park. And yeah, what an amazing place. You've got the fort up here. There's a back area that's nature trails and beautiful areas. And it is a great state park, definitely worthy.
Details correct.
Now, the first command that Ethan is going to give our detail is going to count by fours, and this will prompt the men to count off one by one. This will let Ethan know that all the men who should be here today are here and accounted for, and then he will report that back to our officer.
Detail, count by fours. Count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Sir, the detail is correct.
So the soldiers played baseball here as kind of recreation, and they had a little team. They actually went to Sheboygan on July 4th, 1885, and they played a team in Sheboygan, and they whipped those boys. I think it was 17-10, I think they said the score was. That's pretty cool to see that baseball was a recreation back in those days for the soldiers to keep them, keep the spirits up and stuff. That's really neat.
There's a lot of little nooks and crannies and places to explore in this fort. It's really, really neat. So behind me here is the reading room that was built in 1879. It's got displays about the education that went on here at the fort, not just for the children of the officers or soldiers who would have been here, but for the soldiers as well, because remember, in the 19th century, a lot of the soldiers would not have been educated. They didn't know how to read or write. So while they were here performing their military service, they had the opportunity to take, and sometimes required, to take classes at night. Never thought about that before.
Tell them about the subscriptions too.
Oh yeah, there's a newspaper room inside that the soldiers got to choose what subscriptions of magazines and newspapers they wanted to read, and the quartermaster would pay the annual fees, and then they could go into the newspaper room throughout the day during certain hours to catch up on their reading of, the news. Pretty neat. So now we're in the post bathhouse, built in 1885. They had water tanks above, so gravity would bring the water down. They could heat the water here. Each of these rooms has its own private bathtub.
Wow.
And if it got too steamy in here, they could pull this rope to let the steam escape through the roof.
That is cool. I mean, this is like modern almost.
Very well thought out. The guys did have to buy their own soap, though, but at least they had an opportunity to have a bath from time to time.
Wow.
So this was the quartermaster storehouse, built around 1860. This is where the men would come to get their uniforms, their tools, their kitchen utensils, tableware, anything like that they needed to do their jobs, or their basic bedding and things like that. It's all right here.
Wow.
This is one of the best military or fort tours, I think, museums that we've seen in the country, of all the places that we've been. Very, very well done, very interactive.
Very
Lots
well
of
restored.
stuff to see, very well restored. Nice job, State of Michigan.
Yeah.
Fort Mackinac. Holy cow, y'all, definitely worth the price of admission. But with our admission, we get access to other museums in town, so we're gonna go see what we still can fit into the day. But this is a must-do when you come to Mackinac, 100%. So one of the really neat things about the state park here is that every week a different troop of Boy Scouts comes up and spends time assisting visitors. One of the scouts just told us that the flag that's flying over Fort Mackinac is the second largest U.S. flag currently flying. I'd like to know where the largest is. It is a big flag.
The Episcopal congregation here in Mackinac started in 1837. But this church right here was built in 1882. And wow, you can tour it. We went in. Felt a little weird about filming inside of a church, but it is absolutely beautiful in there. Wow.
Company retail store, so it was a general store operating here in the early 1800s. They were selling a little bit of everything. So we've got fabrics, dishes, baked goods, items for medicinal purposes.
Welcome to the McGulpin House, and this is part of our ticket that we bought to go into the fort. You also get into the McGulpin House. This is thought to be one of the oldest buildings on Mackinac Island, built, they think, in 1790, French-Canadian style. And what's really neat about this building, the house was originally about 1/3 of a mile away. They moved it here when it was, I guess, donated to the state. And as you walk through, it's all about the architecture of Mackinac Island, and you can see in the walls and things where they've stripped back the walls and you can see what's behind them, like over here. So very neat to be in this old structure that it's all about the architecture. So the McCulpin family actually owned this house until 1879. And then it was sold later to the American Fur Company, which we toured their general store right across the street. It was sold to the Mackinac Island State Park in 1982, and now it functions as part of the state park. So the Biddle House and the Benjamin Blacksmith Shop. These were very interesting. The Biddle House actually has a Native American museum inside with some interactive exhibits, very interesting. Then they also have cooking demonstrations in the back, cooking like you would have in the 1800s. And then the blacksmith shop, they're actually working on equipment that has been here from back in the day and belonged to the Benjamin family that were blacksmithers. So this is a very interesting museum. Good demonstrations and interactivity. It is included in the ticket that we bought for the fort, but if you don't want to see the fort, for $10 you can see the Biddle House, the blacksmith shop, the American Fur Company, the art museum, and the McCulpin House as a historic tour package. So definitely worth the time. I enjoyed this one.
If you saw our first video we did on Mackinac Island, we talked about the birth of Fudge, and they say it was invented right here on Mackinac Island, but we did the video on Murdoch's, and Murdoch says that they're the original since 1887. So today we're walking down the sidewalk here, and we come to Murray's Fudge. Well, they're world famous since 1883. Well, which one came first? I don't know. I guess we got a fudge battle going on.
And Murray's Fudge Company is actually in a hotel. I've never seen a hotel that you walk into the lobby and there's a fudge shop in the front.
Fudge shop and burritos.
And an art gallery.
All in one. That's interesting. And it doesn't smell like fudge, it smells like burrito. Established 1850. Wow. Now to answer the question, does Amazon deliver on Mackinac Island? I guess it does. So the Seabiscuit Cafe, yeah, it was very good. We had an early dinner here. We had Swedish meatballs. We split that, and I had a tomato bisque soup also, and Stacy had like a black bean type soup, and wow, strongly recommend this. And splitting the meal was good. I think we're going to do that more often. I think that's a good idea.
It is a good idea.
Yeah.
And our server was from Florida.
Yes, our server was from Florida. He comes here, for the season. Yeah, kind of cool. I imagine all the workers here have to pretty much be seasonal, because not a whole lot of life here during the winter. The people do live here during the winter, but not a lot going on. But wow, what an incredible day. Incredible. Yet there's one more thing. I forgot to say, this was the old bank building way back in the day. So that's pretty cool. Got to eat in the old bank building.
And it was great.
Yeah.
So wow, another great day on Mackinac Island. If you missed our last year's video, we'll link it in the description so you can check it out. But wow, we did totally different things this time and it was awesome. We will definitely be back. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you're subscribed so you'll be along for more fun. And until next time, y'all, safe travels and happy camping. Bye.